Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Shane.
I'm Lex.
All right, so the question on the beard, I've had the beard for over 4 years.
Yeah, it's epic. It really
It took 2 years to get here, and my barber keeps it at this length, and he hates it.
Your barber hates it?
He hates it.
Why?
I don't know.
I think you should do like the Allison Chains thing with it, you know?
I told him I'm going to get a bumper sticker that says my barber hates my beard. He does.
Oh, better yet, why don't you do dreads like the guy from Five Finger Death Punch?
Don't do that.
Hey, they're coming to town, man.
They are.
All right, let's go ahead. We've got some awesome stuff to show you guys. It's PDQ Deploy 10 is out. Those of you who use the beta, well, you know who you are.
Grab it. It's fun. Good stuff, guys.
To find out what's new, there's several ways you can do it. You can click on the Welcome to PDQ Deploy, that node in the top left tree. You can click on the What's New in this version. You can also just hit the F1 key from this main.
And do
obviously, just go to Help and go to Contents, whatever. You'll see the update notes right there.
Again, my favorite acronym, guys, RTFM.
That's an initialism. It's not an acronym.
You know, we'll go to blows after on that. But
Ritifum.
Ritifum.
You know the word ritifum?
Ritifum. Now it's an acronym.
there we go. Okay.
All right. Anyway, we're not going to go through these line by line. We're going to hit some of the big ones, okay? And I think you're right. You'd mentioned this before. I want to have Chris go over
PowerShell conditions.
The PowerShell conditions. I mean, it's fairly self-explanatory.
But it's just fun to see Chris light up talking about PowerShell. It's just, it's Chris's thing.
Yeah, it's nice to see someone who has an otherwise empty life open up and smile.
Corgis, PowerShell.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it made the case for that. So.
Japan.
Well, the big change, guys, file and registry conditions. We haven't added conditions for a while. So what does this mean? And we'll show you how you can utilize this. Give you some examples. Now, if you use PDQ Deploy in conjunction with PDQ Inventory, then some of the use cases, I guess, for the file registry conditions may not be as important.
Yeah.
For example, if you have a collection that says only show me computers
that have this version of...
Yeah, they have an old version of Firefox. And you can deploy to that and know that, you have confidence that these machines are going to get upgraded. They have an older version. But you could, if you wanted to have a file and or a registry condition, actually with Firefox you'd want a registry, that says, hey, look for the version of Firefox in the registry. And if it's this version or higher, don't install this. Don't run this step.
Yeah.
So if you don't use inventory, that'd be a big help.
And again, these are examples of things. I mean, you guys, I'm sure, can think of a million other uses for this kind of a thing. So,
and let me just see if we go to all deployments here real quick. You see Dunmire right here. From a deployment window. There's several windows where you can see this. Basically, where you can see in deploy the computer name. If you have inventory, you can right-click and say Open in PDQ Inventory, and it will open up that computer.
Cool. You can see the applications on.
Yeah, that's been a request out there for a little while. Hey, we use both. Any way we can just
So it's a new feature in 10. That's awesome.
It's a new feature in 10. All right, let's jump into some of the conditions now. I've got a PDQ Deploy package here. It's just called Test File Condition, and it simply has 2 command steps. All right, and the command step is the first one: if 7-zip, actually, I think it's 16.2. If file zip 16.2 is installed, it's going to run this step, and if it's not installed, now it could be that 7-zip's not installed, or it's got a version below 16. Then this one will run. How do we know that? I'm going to look at this first step, go to the conditions, and you're used to seeing the OS version, architecture, the logged on state. Well, now you've got file and registry. Here you can see I've got a file condition specified. I'm going to click this so you can see just by clicking that arrow to enable these, saying exists. Now, if you have none, if you have none selected, then it doesn't process that condition at all. It's just going to run. It's like the all versions of OS version. It's not gonna stop. Here I'm saying let's look at exists, and you notice I'm using a Windows
variable.
Yep.
And it's important to use Windows variable, guys. Depending on how your OSs and stuff were loaded.
Yeah, or if
it could be a little different. But if you use the variables, you'd be able to
Yeah. So we're saying go to program files. Now, one thing that we did add because there's such so many machines out there that have 64 and 32-bit architecture and a lot of 32-bit applications running on a 64-bit. I mean, that's really the standard still. There's a little checkbox here. When you use program files or program files x86 variable, there will be a little check here saying, do you want to also look in the other one?
That was nice.
Yeah,
that was nice of us to do.
That way you don't have to create two steps.
Yep. Okay.
So here we're saying, look in the 7-zip folder underneath program files or program files x86. And look for, I specified 7ZFM. Now, once again, life's an open book test. I just went to this computer which had 7-zip. I went to look at this file. Now, we could say if this file exists, but we're looking for a specific version, right? So I'm just going to go to the properties of this, go to details, and you can see the file version is 16.2.00. The product version is 16.02. You can evaluate against both of these or either of these. So we're saying file version is 16.2. Let's go back over here to our condition. So this file, and then the file version, if it's greater than or equal to 16.2, then we're going to run this. And if it's not, notice I just got this one changed a little bit, does not exist. So if this file either does not exist or it exists, but the file version is greater than or equal to 16.2, but notice we did the does not exist, then basically we know that it's either doesn't exist, 7-zip's not installed, or an older version's installed. It's going to run this one.
Okay.
All right, so we've got a couple. Let's find out some machines. I've got, we'll do Abraham. Abraham has the latest 7-zip.
Okay.
And Chef has an older one. So we'll do Abraham and Chef. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
We'll just type them in.
Oh, will we?
And by we, I mean me. All right,
While you're
Abraham,
typing, I'm going to do what I do best during the webcast. Give you a hard time and drink.
Yes, thank you very much. All right, so now once again, we're doing the file version here. That means each of these should have one step that failed.
Yeah.
All right, so Abraham, we're going to click on the output, remove this down. Notice the second step failed, which says that this was installed, 7-zip's installed, 16.2. Sure enough, 7-zip's installed. If you noticed, all I had in here was an echo in the step.
Yeah.
Echo 7-zip 16.2 not installed, 7-zip installed.
Yep.
All right, it's echoed. Whereas Chef should have failed the first one and succeeded on the second one. Now, one thing I do like this: if you have a file or registry condition and it fails, we either create the log file so that you can report that, or we'll add some logging to an existing log file depending on what's run. Just to give you some heads up. So why did Chef fail? Well, you can see 7ZFM that was there.
Are you sure you stopped drinking last night?
Yeah. 15, but it's got version. It found 15.12, which is obviously lower than 16.2. So we can see why this failed. So just some additional logging there. Now let's look at this. Okay, these are some examples.
Okay.
Now I'm going to take Firefox. All right. I'm going to open up Firefox here. Now this is the Firefox that we have built. We don't use these conditions yet. There will be a time in the package library where some of these conditions are going to be used. But you have to have deploy 10 in order to utilize these. So it's going to be a little while, before we start building packages that require at least version 10 of deploy. Anyway, but I'm going to put this into a real world example.
Okay.
How's that sound? We've got Firefox 4701. Now let's say that we want to not run the step 3, which is installing Firefox, if it's already got this version.
Okay.
And notice we've already, in step 1 and 2, we remove the Mozilla maintenance service, right? And just so you know, I've got a collection over here. We just collapse this. Mozilla maintenance service is installed. This is what's used to help do auto updates for Mozilla. All right, so we've got 3 computers that have it installed, and it's just a collection that we built. Notice the filter just says service, the title equals Mozilla maintenance service. These are the machines. We don't want that. And well, maybe you want it, but for purposes here, we don't want that. So even if a computer has the latest version of Firefox, we still want to run Those first two, that
They're
first
removable,
step, yeah. So let's modify this a little bit. I'm going to see if I can make this go a little faster. Now, we still kind of got around the fact that we didn't have the file conditions by using, in the command step here, just a little
Command step to look for, yeah.
if statement, saying, hey, if this exists, if the uninstall exe exists under Mozilla Maintenance Service folder, then we know it's installed, let's remove it. Guess what? Now that we have these conditions, I'm just going to remove this. Oops, pardon me. There we go.
I'd leave that echo. Oh.
No. So now all we're going to do is run this this uninstall /s.
Yep.
And then we're going to actually lose this second step because we don't need it anymore. Why? Because we're going to say we're only going to run this if Mozilla Maintenance Service is installed. And how are we going to do that? There's a couple of ways. You can go look for this file in a file condition, but we've already shown you guys a file condition. So I'm going to show you a registry condition.
Yep.
And well, I guess I should have opened up Reddit. I suck. All right, so we're going to look in, there's a number of ways you can do this. There's a number of, every application is different to look for the version. But I've got Mozilla installed on this machine, so this is a good, kind of a good cheat sheet. Go to software, it's the 32-bit version. So I'm going to go into software, WoW 64 32 node.
Mozilla.
And you'll see Mozilla, you'll also see mozilla.org. I like the .org, I've done some investigating. Yeah, you can see the version here, but that's not going to show up in like the ESR build.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. What seems to be consistent is the mozilla.org key, and there's a subkey called Mozilla, and you'll see the current version 47.01. All right, so I'm just going to use that one for this. Now, just so you know, there is a bug in this version, not major. It's going to be fixed very soon in a point release. The default key, or the default value, which is effectively the value for the key, we can't evaluate that. We fixed that bug, but then it got broken, didn't catch it. So we intend to, but don't try to evaluate anything in the default value until the next point release.
Point release, yeah.
But we're going to look for current version. So I'm going to just move this down here so I can see that path.
Yeah.
So remove MMS condition. We're going to go to registry, and we're going to say if this exists and under HKey local machine, and it's in software. And the second we do software, notice that popped up. Also match software WoW 64 32 node. So it's going to be software.
Mozilla.org.
Thank you. Mozilla.org. Mozilla. That's the key. And we're going to look for the value. Notice how it says default there. That's because if you, in the next version, the next point release, if you want to evaluate the default, you won't have any value name listed here. And it's called current version, right? Current version. Now we're going to match as text, number, or version. No, we're going to do a version in this case. And we're going to say is, actually we don't even necessarily want to do that. We're not going to do the version because we just want to know if, I'm doing this against, sorry guys, I'm doing this against what I'm going to do in the install one. So again, I suck. So we're just
I'm like, there's got to be a point to this. I don't know what it is. But
we're going to use a file on this one. Sorry. Let's make this fast. See how fast I can do this. So run this if this file exists. Directory is program files. And just, I'm going to just actually change it and say x86. So now you can see it'll match the opposite, program files. Program files x86, Mozilla, and I think it's called Mozilla Maintenance Service. We'll just make sure. It's Mozilla Firefox. And I think it's Maintenance Service. Let's find out. Hey, here, cheat sheet. We know these machines have it. We already checked it. So I'm going to go to Cunningham.
We'll see what it is.
Going to go down to Shares. And I'm just going to click on the C drive. Go into Program Files. And it's called Mozilla. It's actually just Mozilla Maintenance Service. All right. So
just looking for the directory, huh?
we're going to look for the uninstall.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to do Mozilla maintenance service, and it's service. You can include the subdirectories if you want. Don't need to in this case. And the file name is uninstall.exe.
Just a question. Because we're adding that line, we don't have to put quotes.
Correct.
All right, good deal.
Yeah, good catch. If you have, we'll automatically look to see if the directory you have you place has a space, and if so, then we'll make the necessary changes behind the scenes. Yeah, so it's the uninstall exe.
Okay.
All right, that's what we're going to look for. We don't even have to look for the version.
Yeah, as long as we know it's
if
there.
it exists, we want to run this. If it doesn't exist, it's not going to run. You let save. Then we'll come back over here.
You want to change the
registry.
OS architecture just because it's going to check on both?
Yes. Good catch, dude. Because we removed step 2.
Yep.
Good catch, dude. Thanks, man. Registry.
There we go. Back to the registry.
Back to the registry exists.
You know what? Have a drink.
No.
Regroup. Let's rock.
Last thing he needs.
Right. Is that the last thing he needs on JJ?
Well, maybe second last.
It's mozilla.org/Mozilla.
Are you sure?
And it's current version.
Yep, all right.
Did you just touch my stuff?
I did. I touched your keyboard and mouse, yeah.
We're going to match that. Make sure that that's the right current version. Thank you. Yep, so it's mozilla.org, Mozilla. All right, so we've got HTML machine, yada yada, software, mozilla.org. We are matching this at WoW6432 as well.
Excellent.
Current version, we're going to do a match of the version. And is less than, the latest version is 4701. So we'll just do 47.0.1. All right.
Now the reason I just going to run this by you, okay? I know we're checking version number. If you put number in there, it wouldn't be able to evaluate that.
It evaluates number differently.
It does.
Yeah. So the way our version comparison actually looks for any. Well, let's take a peek at this.
Dot increments and looks them.
Yeah, it looks for numbers that, and it can process just numbers and periods or commas. If it happens to run into any text after this, it will just stop evaluating at that point and just evaluate everything to the left. So if you did a number 47.0.1, that would get a little messed up.
Yeah, there is no
Like a
number
Java
47.0 dot.
B type
Yeah.
thing.
So-
Stops at the B.
Just want to point that out, guys.
Thanks, Lex. You're awesome, dude. All right, so only run this if this file does not. We're going to say
registry.
Actually, let's change it because we want to hit machines that also don't have Firefox installed at all. So we're going to change the comparison to greater than or equal to. So if we're going to only run install Firefox if this value 4701 doesn't exist, or if it's higher.
Yeah.
That way, this will include machines that don't have Firefox.
Excellent. Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and deploy this now. And we'll just do it.
I guess so. While that's deploying, you're going to hit.
Now, yeah, I'm going to show you a couple of examples here. So Cunningham applications. Cunningham has 4701. So if we're doing this right, it should not run step 2 because
Yep,
it's already got the version.
nuke step 1,
but
which is
it
get rid of
should
that.
run step 1 because it's got the maintenance service.
Excellent.
All right. And Putty. Yep. Go ahead and ask a question.
Got a question from Matt H.
All right.
For the step conditions, is it only files/registry options, or are there options to use PDQ inventory collections directly?
There are not options to use PDQ inventory collections directly. Actually, if I tested this, you should be able to use, notice how I put 4701 in there. You should be able to use a variable because you can maintain variables in PDQ Deploy. You just have to add that variable for like the latest Firefox version 4701.
True.
Reference that variable, and then when the new version comes out, you just change that
Change it
variable.
in one spot. Yep.
Yeah, but no, this only does registry and files. Sorry. It won't look in services. It won't look in WMI. It's registry
The
files.
interesting thing, though, is if you do use collections from inventory, it pre-evaluates, so you don't end up launching this out to machines that aren't even in the collection. So
That's if
you
you're-
could
yeah.
get some
That's if you're using inventory structure.
Yes.
And just so you know, PuTTY should run both steps because it's got to remove that, right? And price, I can't remember what price. Yeah, price does have it. So price and Cunningham should not run step 2 because they've got the latest version, but they should all run step 1. All right. And I'll throw something else in there. I'll throw hell with it. I think too many variables.
Yeah, we know what to expect on this.
All right, I'm going to choose these targets from inventory.
Grab your collection.
I call this working. It's a static collection.
Oh, we're missing something from working.
Yeah, we are. I'll have to look into that, and then we'll do price, because price is in there. All right, so we're going to run against these 3 computers, hit deploy, and see how this works. So hopefully you guys are thinking about how you can use this in your environment.
Yeah.
People want to check on the fly all the time. I don't use inventory. I just want to push this out to all my computers, but I don't want to reinstall the same software. That's where you would use something like this.
You can also do a file eval if you're dropping like INI files and stuff on machines. You can check those and check your versions against those. But
the INI file is not going to have a version.
No. If you make your own, you can put a version on it.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you are maintaining your own, put a version number on there.
Cool. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
It's from Michael M. So does the registry check on the remote computer at runtime?
Yes. Yes, Michael M. This registry check on the remote computer? Yes, it does. It evaluates at that time. Let's look at PuTTY. Remove previous. Did I screw up? Yeah. Looks like I may have screwed something up here. Oh.
I gotta laugh.
No, I suck. Hold on.
I suck now. Okay, what?
What did I screw up here? System driver. Oh, yeah.
Oopsie.
Yeah, the problem is I was just doing this on the run. I didn't take time to evaluate in this one.
Oh my, look. It won't run if it's on a 64-bit machine in a 32-bit file.
There we go. Program files x86. Yeah, I'm not using the variable for program files. Thanks, though, JJ. No comments in the peanut gallery, please.
It was silent. No one else heard. Well, they heard this.
Let's see what it does.
So this is why you test your stuff, guys, because it's easy to overlook simple things. I mean, Shane and I never make mistakes, do we, Shane?
Never.
Let's take another question.
Yeah, go for it.
From Doug K. What is the benefit of going through all these steps to run the package versus running on a collection from inventory?
So, I mean, like I say, in the cases that we're showing you here, yes. And I mentioned, I gave a little preamble. If you use collections, then these use cases may not apply necessarily to you. But there could be a lot of reasons for it. So,
what if you were running like Autodesk, right? And you wanted to drop a parameters file or something like that you maintain yourself. Now you can go check that file because the install file doesn't do it. You can do that now and see if it's there. And
so you're using deploy, but you're deploying against the latest versions of. Let me just come over here. You're deploying against the latest versions of. So notice how PuTTY is gone now, right? PuTTY does not have the Mozilla maintenance service. So as an example, I deploy this to PuTTY, even using deploy, saying, push this out, or if I don't use deploy, whatever, it removed, in this case, the Mozilla maintenance service. So let's also run it against,
So you could write a single package to do that, but if you did an all-inclusive package, so you've got one place to maintain where you push something out, you can now get rid of maintenance and all that, and not have to run on every single machine, only run on the machines specifically that need it.
Yeah. And what we're trying to do is just give you guys some
additional granularity.
Yeah, well, I mean, in this case, we're trying to give you just hopefully help you hit the ground running. Just give you some ideas on what to do. So many times you want to know when you're running any package, even if you're not installing a program, you're running a package that just does some cleanup, but you want to only run it if certain conditions exist in the registry. Now you can do that without having to script it all out. And now you can do that with files. And I love the fact that you can check the file header information for the file version or the product version, etc.
Yeah. We're just hoping you guys start thinking, I mean, obviously this is pretty obvious, but you guys start thinking outside of this. And, you know, it's unbelievable what you come up with.
Are there any other questions that have popped up over here?
Not as far as this. We've got some for the next feature, repository cleanup, if we want to start getting into that.
Sure, go for it. The repository cleanup was introduced in 9.
Yeah.
We made some small improvements.
Okay, yeah, thank you. The improvements we made were the ability to do exclusions. So you can see I've got, if you remove Alexa's body, you can see we've got a little link down here that says 24 unused files in the repository. What that means is in your repository, there are files existing there that aren't associated with packages over here.
Yep.
All right, so you can click this. This just opens up preferences, effectively. This opens up. You can also launch this from preferences or configure this in preferences. So here, if we wanted, we could say, I could just hit Control A to select everything. But let's say that, you know what, I don't want to ever delete anything in Adobe Air. Now you can just say exclude this directory, Adobe Air.
Boom, disappears.
And it won't delete those. It won't delete anything in Adobe Air from now on.
We had some show them.
Yeah, we had people who were saying, I love this. I've got thousands of files that I want deleted, but there's a few that I use the repository for things. I don't want those deleted. So now you can exclude files, or you can exclude directories. And you want to delete these, just the rest of them, just delete.
Pow.
Now we go take a peek at
our repository.
Open this up. Now you can see it's a lot cleaner. Just so you know, just so we're not nagging you about this, I believe it's got to have, I think, over 20 files. I believe or 20 or 15 files that are not associated before the status bar will show up. You can always delete them anytime you want by specifically going in here, but we wait to nag you about it until it starts getting up there.
Now, one more thing on that. Do we need to be careful about shared files?
Yeah, that's always kind of, that.
Just think about it.
When you're sharing packages, you might delete. Mostly people who share repositories.
Should do
okay, so
server,
like you and I both have our repository and it's set to a file server somewhere, and you delete a package, but I've got my own package for those same files, and you delete them. Then you could
orphan that package. Yeah,
that was actually one of the reasons why we kind of held off from doing this. Is we were afraid of deleting files. Hard drive space is cheap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're like we'd rather have some clutter than delete something that
is used.
But I think we got it pretty much dialed in, and it's a really popular feature. And based off of your feedback, we made this change.
Yeah. So just be aware, guys. It's all
based off of your feedback /complaining /bitching. We made this change.
We responded to our end users. Oh my gosh. That totally goes against all of my principles.
I gotta tell you guys, with Brig, if those of you who've worked with Brig and Jason, they are your advocates.
Oh my gosh, man, these guys will not stop till you get what you need. It's amazing.
You get tackled by Jason every third hour.
Dude, why are we doing this? Yeah.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
From Monica K.
Hi, Monica.
The lovely Monica K. I'm not Kelly.
No, you're not.
Quite obvious. What are some best practices for repository cleanup?
Go like this, click, do it blind.
That is quite the opposite.
That's actually Alexa's answer doing it blind.
What are some of the worst
his answer to almost everything?
Pretty much, just click it, do it in the middle of the day, during work, close your eyes, and hope for the best. A
best practice, really, it's if you only use the repository for packages from the package library, feel free to delete whatever's in there that you don't have a package for. If you use a repository for your own custom packages, be a little bit more careful. But use the exclude, Monica, if it's needed. Like maybe you have a Microsoft Office, a bunch of Microsoft Office packages for different versions, and you delete them, but you don't want to lose those install files. You delete a package, exclude
Yeah.
Exclude Microsoft Office so that you're not deleting those install files. Because I will say this, for some vendors, it can be pretty difficult to get old versions if you want to keep those. But for the most part, Monica, and by the way, I hear you got a new job. Congrats.
Congratulations.
The overwhelming consensus is just clean it up.
Yep.
You know, I'm never going to use it again. I don't. There's no reason I need to have version 28 of Chrome.
Yeah.
Lose it.
Hey, so they made us blink a minute ago, brought in this really cool flask. If you guys can see this, can you see that? JJ, I don't know. Am I?
Want me to walk up
You can see
there?
it.
You can see it?
Yep.
Can you see what it says?
No,
Here, let me see if I can get a little bit closer.
but we'll do it. All right.
That it right there?
Yeah. Let's move it over to camera 2.
Camera
In fact,
two.
let's wrap this up. It's
Wrap it up? Okay. So,
Go to camera 2.
there you go.
Walk up
Still
there.
can't read it. All right, here we go.
There we go.
Got some light on there?
Yeah.
And what does it say, Lex? I know it's hard. It's hard for you to read.
PDQ Deploy, PDQ Inventory.
I guess.
So, why did
That was
Sean
kinda
bring me this?
self-explanatory.
It's kind of cool.
You'll find out soon enough.
All right.
I guess some new swag. Some new swag is forthcoming.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap it up.
All right, dudes. Thanks very much for watching. Hopefully you'll use this.
10's cool, guys. The file and the registry conditions
Mm-hmm.
are amazing. Just, let your imaginations go. Cool stuff will happen, and please share it with everyone on the blog.
Yeah, and of course, coming up, Chris is going to talk some more in the next PowerShell blog or PowerShell webcast. He's also going to go over the PowerShell conditions. which really helps as we've introduced the PowerShell step. And if you write a PowerShell script in version 5 and it's not going to work in version 3, you want to make sure that it only runs on machines that have 5.
Yep, 5,
right?
yeah.
So,
All right. Thanks for watching, guys.
we'll talk to you later.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Oh, sorry. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining us today, and congratulations to Monica K for winning our first flask. Our other winner for some of the glassware is Doug K. So Doug, if you'll email me so that I can hook you up with that swag, that would be great. And we will see you guys next Thursday.